Brick Tower. Understand you have an emergency fire light, and you are clear to land. Runway 23 left.
Thank heavens this wasn't a real emergency. But if it had been, the pilots trained on this A-7 fighter simulator at Rickenbacker Air Force Base would have been prepared for the emergency. I asked Lieutenant Colonel Gordon Campbell, commander of the 166th Tactical Fighter Squadron, just how the simulator operates and how they justify spending $8 million for such a training device.
The simulator is used as a training device, and back when simulators were first built, they were used for strictly normal procedures and emergency procedure training to get the pilot prepared to fly. Okay. Now, and especially since the fuel crisis in '73, simulators are being used in lieu of flying time, because flying time is getting more and more expensive every year. The last figures I heard on the A-7, it cost $900 per flying hour. Part of our mission is to go at low altitude in all weather on a radar mission. Okay, the simulator, we can fly a radar mission any place in the world at low altitude, and if the pilot's flying in weather and he can't see the ground, he doesn't know where he is anyway, and he's just using the radar to navigate with, plus the inertial navigation system. So the pilot can go to the simulator and fly a low altitude mission any place in the world with his map, and it'd be almost like flying the real mission. Our simulator was just modified with a visual training device. So the front part of the aircraft has a TV display, and on that display we project runways, towns, rivers, gunnery ranges, airfields with airplanes on them for targets, enemy aircraft, and ours is just the first step in what's going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years with these.
The real A-7 fighter is a complex piece of aircraft, but is simple in design from the outside.
A-7 is a single engine, single pilot airplane. It's manufactured by Vought Aeronautics, Dallas, Texas. Looking at the A-7 now, it's not very streamlined, so you'd think it's not very fast, like it's not an up-to-date aircraft. But that's not true, because it has all the latest radar, communications, navigation equipment, which gives it an all-weather combat capability. The airplane is 43 feet long, and it has a 39-foot wingspan.
And who are the pilots of the A-7s? Perhaps your next-door neighbors. Captain Jim McGeorge is a Xerox salesman. Captain Jim Barnes is a stockbroker. And Captain Tom Powers is a banker. Flying a simulator is one thing, but should a pilot need to experience the sensation of a parachute, another training technique is used.
We have a hanging harness where the pilot puts on a parachute harness. He's attached to a hoist, which lifts him up in the air, and he goes through the various steps that he'd have to perform in a bailout situation. We refer to the flying gear as life support equipment. The pilots wear a parachute, a G suit, which helps them sustain the high G maneuvers. The coveralls like this are made out of Nomex, which are fireproof material, like a race car driver would wear. We wear a helmet protecting in a crash or a bailout. Each pilot's helmet is custom fitted. We have a device where we can pour a styrofoam mold over the pilot's head, take the shape of his head. Then after that sets up, we take it out and pat it and glue it inside of a helmet shell.
Once the pilots are accustomed to the simulator, they begin regular training missions, such as air-to-ground gunnery over Camp Atterbury in Indiana.
In for 2 bombs on each of the events and 2 passes on strafe. Following the last pass on strafe, we'll come around for our armament safety check pass, and I'll be slowing up to 300 knots. Everybody can join up on me on that.
Probably in today's defenses, we use two A7s, flights of two A7s. And because of the sophisticated enemy defenses, radar nets and such, we go in at very low altitude, high speed, all the way to the target. And the last couple of miles, we would do what we call a pop-up maneuver, where we climb up to 6,000 or 7,000 feet and roll in on the target to drop our bombs from a dive bomb type delivery. When the pilot pulls up in his pop-up maneuver, visually acquires the target, rolls in, puts the aiming symbol, which is projected on the windscreen in the aircraft, on the target, he depresses what we call the consent button or a bomb button. And that says, computer, whatever's under that aiming symbol is the target.
Well, I think knowing that you are highly trained and available at a moment's notice to the country is one thing. The other is I enjoy flying. I enjoy flying ACM, which is air combat.
Flying is not without tension, even though pilots are sitting still. So consequently, keeping in top shape is important.
I'm not so sure I'm in top physical condition, but I do try to run regularly and do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, and other than that, I really don't do much else.
I basically don't smoke, and I don't eat excessively. I watch what I eat primarily.
Flying ACM is pretty demanding on your cardiovascular system. I also play tennis for 2 hours a night, and to get all the mediums in, I'm taking scuba diving lessons also.
A gas station in the sky best describes the mission of refueling in midair.
I go out on a Wednesday night and I fly a refueling mission on a Wednesday night. It really is relaxing. You're forced to not think about work. You're forced to think about the airplane and not work.
The Air National Guard is really a first-class squadron. When the head of the Tactical Air Command of the Air Force looks at the number of squadrons available for him to go to war, the Air National Guard squadrons are every bit, if not more qualified than the squadrons on active duty. Our experience level for our pilots is extremely high. I'm an ex-Navy pilot. We have several other ex-Navy pilots. We have ex-Air Force pilots, people that have been in the National Guard for 10, 15, 20 years. So the ratio of experienced pilots to unexperienced pilots is extremely high. We have modern, up-to-date equipment. We're flying a superior airplane for air-to-ground, for bombing. I just want the community to know that we are a first-class fighter squadron, and our experience level is extremely high.
Thank you. Now, viewers at home, you've heard some responses from A7 pilots on why they are in the Air National Guard. If you were in their position, what would be your motives? Would it be number 1, to serve your country? Would it be number 2, the extra income? Number 3, the excitement of flying? Number 4, a combination of those? Or number 5, something else? And please let us know and take your Qube consoles and touch when you see the sign.